Okay, this is a follower submission. OP, if you are in the house and want to claim your story, feel free to. This is, am I the astronaut for refusing to feed my sister-in-laws after she gave her food to her dogs? My husband and I threw a barbecue on Saturday for the whole family. Mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law times 2, brother-in-law times 4, all their kids, my parents, and a few cousins. It was a large gathering. Both sister-in-law and brother-in-law brought their dogs times 3. I didn't really want the dogs here, but at the same time, I kind of just sucked it up because we were going to be outdoors anyways. Sister-in-law's dogs are extremely high energy and food-driven. One is a giant Rottie and the other is some sort of Russian Chihuahua, which I like to read as Chihuahua. I think that's what she said. So small lap dog. Brother-in-law's dog is fine. He is old and just kind of lays around looking for pettings. Black lab. So we started dishing out plates or whatever, and my sister-in-law is just waiting and staring at us but not saying anything. When we get everyone's food, she goes, where's their food? And points down at her 2 dogs who are standing by the grill begging. I told her that I'm not feeding her dogs food that cost me over $300. I purchased this food on my dime and I'm not going to see it go to a dog when other people could want more food. She said something to the effect of, well, what the hell are they supposed to eat then? They eat with us for every meal, and now they're just going to be sitting there thinking they did something wrong because you won't feed them. So I responded with all due respect, that is not my problem. You should have figured out something instead of expecting us to feed your dogs steaks and burgers. Anyway, she ended up putting her food on the ground for her dogs and sat with her arms crossed the whole time, glaring at everyone around while they were eating, saying, that sure looks yummy. Good thing the rest of the family gets to eat. My husband kept coming up and saying, just give her a plate, hon. She's causing drama. And I refused. She gave her plate to her dogs, who shouldn't have been fed the food I purchased anyhow, because I clearly said no already. I'm not going to give in to the entitlement when she didn't do anything to contribute. If I allowed her to walk all over us this time, then it would happen over and over in the future. Mother and father-in-law are on my side, as apparently she pulls the same shit at their house. But everyone else thinks that I'm an asshole for not feeding her after she gave her plate to the dogs. Am I the asshole? Ooh, boy. Okay, different dog people believe different things. There are a few different issues going on here. I think as a dog person, either you're okay with table scraps or you're not. I personally am not, because Luna, who is a toddler brain inside a horse body, she, if you give her people food, thinks it's okay for me to take people food and then ends up pulling stuff off the counters, and it's a behavior that we had to change. So we have a hard boundary for no people food for her because she will steal food if you give her people food. She doesn't know the difference. So we've had to create a line of separation there. Some people are okay with it. And if you're okay with it, that's cool. However, you can't impose that on someone else when you're a visitor in their house. You can't just assume that they're going to make expensive steak and burgers at a cookout for your dogs. That's something that requires some pre-communication to be like, hey, is it okay if I bring them? They would like to eat food as well. I can chip in, whatever. Or I'll bring something that we can cook for them, or I'll bring something separate for them. It requires some communication if you want to do that. Sister-in-law just threw a little tantrum fit here, and that just kind of reinforced her being unreasonable. She knew it wasn't okay to give the food to the dogs, or knew she wasn't supposed to. It was against the host's wishes. Still did it, and then just sat there pouting. Sure looks good. Glad everyone else gets to eat but me. She seems like a really fun person to be around. At Candy Thunder's family's house, everybody brings their dogs. There's almost as many dogs there as there are people sometimes. And some people believe different things, even within that group. Like table scraps are okay for some of them, and they're not for some of them. But you do you. You do you, boo-boo. However, I think imposing that on someone else sucks. So I would say NTA here. I'm going to go that route. NTA, not the asshole for refusing to give her another plate whenever you said the first plate shouldn't go to the dogs. She had her plate. She made her choice. It's on her after that. She was trying to force your hand by giving that plate to the dogs after you said no. So also the way she asked in the first place was just really shitty. What are they supposed to eat? I don't know. They're not my dogs. What are they supposed to eat? You tell me. Did you bring food for them? Nothing that she approached here, she approached in a nice diplomatic way at all. And if she was trying to convince someone to do something, pitching a fit, I don't think is the way to do it. She's giving them a freaking gourmet meal here. It is not just scraps. It is an actual full plate of food. That does make a difference. Let's talk about where sister would land here. Okay, as a reminder, most of you know about the ascon scale already and know how it works, but if this is your first time seeing it, this is modeled after the U.S. military's DEFCON scale. Ascon 1 is the worst severe asshole. Ascon 4 is the least severe asshole. So 4 is you could have done that differently. 3 is you should have done it differently. 2 is you definitely shouldn't have done it, and ascon 1 is you're a terrible human. We definitely checked the box for 4 and 3 here. I'm thinking 2 as well. I think we checked the box for 2. Okay, sister-in-law here, we're going with 2. I'm not going to call her an absolute shite human. I don't think she makes it that far, but she's definitely a 2.